to the golf shop. Jim McCleary, What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. We're going to be talking about the Pinehurst golf trip, some new clubs that we just got in the shop, and a new face in putting. All next. Welcome back to the golf shop. Jim McCleary here, and What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why is that? Because old golf club makers and golf club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and this is no different. So what's in the drawers in my shop right over there, and we're going to be talking about golf club repairs, golf club reviews, golf club fittings, and some other stuff in between. All righty, so first and foremost, didn't have anything going on in the shop because we went to Pinehurst. That's right, Robin was shipping everything, and well, that's different. The guys at work decided they want to take a trip to Pinehurst as their first time and invited Bob and I, and we gladly accepted, and off we went. From here, it's only about a 5.5, 6 hour ride, depending on whether or not you stop at Cracker Barrel or not. And we did, and found a perfect halfway point in Princeton, which was it's actually a fairly nice little stop. It's where the West Virginia Welcome Center is at. So there it is. So we played 3 different courses. Well, first and foremost, we stopped at a place called Tanglewood, and that was about an hour and a half beforehand. We did that on taking off that day, staying overnight, and then getting into it. And because we had some early morning golf. Tanglewood is I believe it was in Winston-Salem. I think that's where it's at. I can't remember, but it's in the middle of a city park, and the city park is huge. It's got a gated. It's basically gated, which is kind of neat, and a singular road in, a singular road out, and the thing's already ready. It's already dressed up for Christmas, and it had arches over top of the road. It had the little outline for elves and deer and Santa Clauses and golf and horses and whatnot. And the golf course is located all the way in the back. It's held a few tournaments in its era, and mostly in the 70s. And it's a nice little layout. I mean, it's just a nice little layout. And from tee to green, it's not too tremendously tricky. However, the thing that bears its teeth on this golf course is the putting green in every single hole. That thing has false fronts. It has undulation. It was massively quick and quick right and left turns. It was crazy how difficult it was to putt on these greens, to the point I bet I 3-putted no less than 14 greens. And in the last, you hit them and it just throws you away, and then you putt, and it was all defensive. You have a decent length putt, and it would do all this, and then you'd be 3 or 4 foot past the hole, and you'd hit back up to it very timidly, and then knock it in, and there was your 3-putt for the most part. It was nutty, and needless to say, the scores were not very good. Okay, the second one, we got into Pinehurst proper, and the first one was Mid-South. Mid-South is an Arnold Palmer course that's on a lot. If you go there and you're a first timer, most likely you will find your way there. Now, Mid-South is it's no pushover, to be sure. And you had to take the Arnold Palmer, be aggressive, hit something, and you'll be rewarded kind of concept. And we're just going to go through some of the pictures that I took while we were down there and talk about how we got through it. So here, this was hole number 1, I believe, and just sitting in some trees, and you can see the golf carts right there in the middle. We were the second group out, and of course this hole doglegs to the right with a green that's purely undefensible, or it's not defended by anything gross in the front. It's got a sand trap on the right, and it's got water, or sand trap on the left, water on the right, but straight in, it's real good. And so you can actually curve one in and you could still be on the green. Wasn't real long, but it takes two quality golf shots to get there. It was a very, very nice hole. A few holes later, you get to see that something that looks like this. Now, this is a tricky one. I think I got it down here. It ends up looking like that at the bottom. So what you have here is actually a shorter shot. If you hit something around 200 to 210, this shot is closer to about 120. So not bad if you can place it there. However, this green area that you see in front of you, that can't be 40 yards wide. Well, probably less than that. So you have to be very precise with your shot making. You literally had to leave it short and let it run down because it was on a downslope. So if you didn't know that going in there, you were going to find yourself being wet. The next one was the par three. The par three is basically your basic 150-yard shot, except as you can tell, every drop of that is over water. Every bit of that's over water, and if you don't hit it just right, and I mean it's every bit of 150. And I tucked one in there, and I thought, man, I got really, really close. Turns out I was on the first cut of rough, and there was about literally this much room between me and the golf ball and the end of the pond. So it's kind of deceptive in the way that it looks, but a beautiful picture nevertheless. Coming around just to give you some more ideas of what this looks like. This is a standard issue hole, and you see there's 1, 2, 3, somewhere like 4. Oh, there's one over there. 4 sand traps that are on this hole. And this is on the back 9 of it. And so what this one is very deceiving in that it's a good looking hole. If you look, it's got all kinds of picturesque, tree lines, the whole 9 yards, except for if you landed anywhere near where that golf cart is, you're going left. Everything banks to the left. So you literally have to hit it into the shadow of the tree on the right in order to stay up there. And then what happens is it goes down to a shelf, and then it drops about another 20 to 30 feet, and it goes out onto to a green. And so you've got at least 2 or 3 good shots ahead of you. If you don't know where you're going, it's very penal. This one's a little bit later. This one's another par 3, and this is like a 160 par 3. And that sand trap in the middle where that golfer's at gobbles up everything. And I always take an extra club there, and I did on this one, and I purely missed it and ended right up in it. It's terrible. Oh man. Anyway, we came around, and we started on the back 9 first and went on the front 9 second. And it's a lot of twists and turns, ups and downs. The greens were, I would say, average in speed, maybe above average in speed, but no real nasty breaks. So the idea was to pay your penance to get onto the green, and then if you putted well, you got paid back for it. I ended up shooting an 83 or an 84 on that one. That one was a lot of fun. But at the very end, what we did as a whole, what we did was we'd play 18 normal score, and then we get together for a final 9, and we'd scramble. And what you see here is Bob commanding his troops into making a putt. His team and my team were even coming into the hole, and that was right there. That was a putt for an eagle, and it was missed, and they made their birdie putt and ended up beating us by a stroke. So it is what it is. All righty. So that was it. That was a lot of fun. Good weather. The whole weather was great the whole time. Started out about mid 50s and ended up into the mid to upper 70s when we were all said and done. Sun shining the whole time. It was a very, very nice week. All right. The second one was Talamore. Talamore, a lot of people know Talamore, and it's a very, very nice course. Now, this one can play long, right? This one can play long. and they just revised it. I mean, I played it, oh, I'm going to say a little over 7 months ago, and it looks different. And because it looks like there's all the bunkers have almost all of them turned into pot bunkers. So this was a couple of holes into it, and this is the very first pot bunker you run into. Now this one's not massively deep, but it's at least 5 foot deep. And when the golfer's golfing, you can't see them. So that was interesting, and you can see everybody trying to avoid it with all the tire prints and the feet print. And here's another one from a little further back. And what you see is it's always being protected by sand. Now, the thing about Talamore is it started out with the logos it has is a llama, and it's because when they first opened up, they used llamas to be caddies. They'd put the golf clubs on the back, and I guess you could either walk them or they'd have somebody walk them. And I've been chasing this pin flag for almost 2 years. What I really wanted was the original pin flag, but I got this one instead. All right. And it's pretty cool. I got to say, they're pretty lighthearted about stuff like that. And Masters, when it was configured a little differently, and the Masters asked them for a cease and desist order because it was too close to what they wanted. And I was like, I don't know about that, but okay. Anyway, you get around here, and these in the pins right here and right here, there you go. You get to see one. There's a llama. They got a couple of them sitting in there. Some of the remnants, I don't know if they're filling that, replacing them as they pass, but there's that. And then here's what a typical Talamore golf hole consists of is you're about 40 to 50 yards from this line of junk that's in front of you. A 200-yard pop or 250-yard pop will put you out in the middle of the fairway. If you miss it to the left or to the right, you're going to be find yourself in the sand trap. And so it was very much, you hit it straight, you score well, and then you get into bunkers like that. And there was a lot like that one, and that is, actual size as shown. There was a couple of those things that were easily 6 foot to 7 foot deep, and getting out of them was going to be a task, to be sure. Another one, this was number 10, just a long one that goes off to the right. And if you look at it hard enough there up onto the right-hand side, there's some sand bunkers right there that are just waiting to gobble up a golf ball that's hit very well and with a small fade. And this one was a very nice hole. It's very picturesque again. Just wide as slam open. That was a grip it and rip it hole. Is literally what that was. Number 18. Sorry, this is because it's number 9 for us. This is number 18 coming up the fairway. You got to tee off and you got to cross the pond. This is at the very forward tees, the greens or the whites, what they're talking about. Looks a lot like this. Well, that was really fun. Let's see. You got it goes across the water. I was giving you just 2 different looks at it. A little bit higher. If you look up there, 1, 2, 3, 4 sand traps that you can see, and every last one of them is a pot bunker. And here's coming up number 9, and this one's a killer. If you look at those 2 pot bunkers right there, both of those are easily 6 foot deep, and they both guard it coming up. So you had to hit one that was either going to fall short and you chip on and get your 1 putt, or if you hit the drive good enough that you could hit one straight up. So is it an easy course? If your game is on, yeah, I can, like that. That's true for anything. You keep the ball in play at Talamore, you're going to be rewarded. And again, the greens on this one were quick, but they weren't super breaking. There was some breaks in some, but you saw them coming, and that one's okay. if they're fast and you can see them coming and they're pretty much true to that, then okay. But if they're super duper fast and you don't see anything, that's a little too much in my opinion. Or if they're very, very slow and have all this kind of break and you have to, it's a nightmare. But both at Mid South and at Talamore, I thought were just fine. And matter of fact, by playing Tanglewood, set us up to actually putt really, really well at these two courses. Yeah, I did pretty decent at both of those. I was real happy with getting my game together until I hit this place. Southern Pines. Southern Pines is probably one of the very most, what am I saying? Is probably one of the very one of the first golf courses in the area, I would think. And of course, what they've done is they've renovated it to be like it was in the early 1900s. And so, what they did in the early 1900s is they put a lot of crap in away. And what I mean by that is that this thing was filled up with waste bunkers and regular bunkers. And this one was no different. This was number one, and it was only a three something going down, and it was right there in it looks pretty innocuous, except for everything bends to the left. So you had to hit it over to the right. Well, of course, I hit it in the middle, but I didn't hit a very far shot. So I'm stuck in the middle. I hit a downward shot, and if I could just show you, if you see where those guys on that left sand trap are standing, that left sand trap, I landed this far from the edge of the sand trap on an upslope and had a scrambled egg where the doggone ball was below the level of the sand. That's a toughie. So I took a big mighty cut, left a divot in the sand like this, and the ball jumped this far into the sand. And that was my day. That was my day in a nutshell right there. Somewhere along the lines, my golf swing had left me, and it didn't. It was like I couldn't hit anything straight. I couldn't anything in the air. It was awful, and I paid for it. However, to kind of give you an idea, this is kind of the look that you're going to get when you're out there. It's a nice, oh, I'll say tighter golf course, but I will say it was in immaculate condition. Very immaculate condition. Here's another. This is kind of what you're looking at, and you see, this is the end of a golf hole, and one, two, three very, very large sand traps guarding it with some waste over there to the side, plus that and the pond into the front. Now, and I will say that green, there was a swale in it like this that was aimed down so that if you landed anywhere, it would collect you like a funnel and pull you down. So you had to hit above it in order to get onto the flat and then stay on the flat and then tap in. That was the kind of stuff that we were basically fighting all day. All right. And so here's a larger picture of a couple of golf holes that I took. There's stuff up here to the left. The water that played a kind of the middle of a wagon wheel kind of concept. And so that was pretty much about the deal. And I ended up I went well over 100 on that course just because I was just struggling mightily. And I actually parred a couple of holes. It was just that I took some really big numbers out there because I just couldn't get myself together. I just couldn't pull myself out of the funk. All right, a couple other things I wanted to show you that at Talamore they had a few decorative things. If you guys are looking for something for your man cave, this one caught my eye, and it says, no man will ever have golf under his thumb. No round will ever be so good that it could not have been better. Perhaps that's why golf is the greatest of games. You are not playing a human adversary. You are playing a game. You are playing old man par. And from the looks of it, I'm believing that this is something that, oh geez, guy just got the Masters started. Bobby Jones. Got Bobby Jones. I think it would lead you to believe he said that. All right, last but not least, and we'll get moving on to some other stuff, is North Carolina, right? Pine cones. Pine cones are everywhere. Now, up here in Ohio, pine cones are your typical pine cones, just the little bitty things. Down there, those things are mammoth size. I mean, a couple of them were almost the size of a football. And it's almost a thing now. So every time I go down there, I pick up a pine cone. All right, so we got through that. All righty. Sorry to take all that time for you. Now, a couple things I wanted to show you. We have a Okay. We have a set of Apex irons. I still don't have my fitting stuff, but we're getting irons in. A golfer has asked that we reshaft these almost immediately. And these are the Apex CB and the Apex Pro. So we'll start with this one. Now, the CB is obviously the cavity back. And if you look, there's not much of it. This is definitely a player's cavity back. All right, nice compact face. And if you look here, there we go. Very, very, very small top line. This is a shape that I would say is very desirable. What to the We call it the standard very good player. We get put into groups where you get guys that shoot low. They're supposed to like this particular kind of golf club. Well, that's not necessarily happening all the time now, but in the way of historical, this is what you would like. This would be for the better player. All right. It doesn't have any offset on it. So, I mean, it looks to be a really, really nice club. And the other one is the Pro model. Let's see if I can take this off here. And the Pro model, I believe I've shown you before. But this is the hollow body, and this one's going to be in the upper end. Of course, it has a very similar look to the cavity, but a little bit wider down in here. The top line is very, very, very similar. I'd say it's just you could measure it in millimeters wider. Again, I think the loss on these will be a hair stronger, and these will have a hint of offset. I would put them in the low offset category. Certainly still players look like, right? Still has that traditional, up and around. It's very, very, very nice looking club. And so we're gonna be reshafting a set of those. I'm gonna set these on the ground because they're gonna fall anyway. Okay. And that's what we got. Now, again, I think I'm under embargo, but I can say that Odyssey is changing the face of their putter. What it's coming out to, I can't tell you because I haven't really seen what they look like. But to give it has been designed by the AI, just like all the other faces that are in the Callaway lineup. And one more thing about the grip, they apparently are coming out with these grips. Literally, these are the same grips. This one just has paint fill in it. This one does not. These are called Golf Pride Z grips, and they're Z grips without cord. I like these. I got some on my other golf clubs. They're not sticky, but they have a texture that allows you to grab them without too much pressure. Okay, so that's it. We had the trip. Oh, I want to go back. I had one more thing to show you. The places that you stay. You can stay at Talamore, you can stay at Mid-South. Talamore is probably the most common. It's more of a series of townhomes that are split up and down. So if you have trouble with stairs, you might want to ask for a first floor room. And these things are not just little bitty apartments that you go stay in. These are rooms that are very, very roomy with two full size beds or a king in each one. Robin and I stayed in one. Bob and Penny stayed in another. And this particular one, Bob and I stayed in two twins, where another set of guys stayed in another set of twins. Plus, we each had our own bathroom, which was a shower, toilet and sink. And we actually had a little, I'll say like a mini bar. It had another little sink, like a college refrigerator and a microwave, and they had I think a little larger bathroom, and then you had a living room, dining room, and a kitchen that had a full size fridge, a refrigerator, or full size fridge, oven, and microwave and cabinets in it, and it was really, really nice. Now, this was just to quite give you a quick picture. This was one of the rooms that we were sitting in to watch the Ohio State game, and this is the living room. And out on the side there in the far right are all the doors that lead you to the bedrooms and to the bathroom. And where you see all the bags on the right is where the kitchen was at. So, and the picture's taken. I am sitting in a couch, and the couch was, of course, at the total other end of the room, and it walked out onto a patio, and the other one went out onto a deck. So, what do I say to this? I say it's worth it. Okay, it's very much worth it. And if you have a chance, now we didn't go to Pinehurst proper, but you can go over there and go see it. Go to the clubhouse, look around, watch people play croquet. I might even be able to see the cradle, see folks coming in from number two. There's just a lot going on. So, and what I would say about this for anybody considering it, and this is Jim's personal opinion, that this is what I would call this is a grown-up version of Myrtle Beach. All right, there's not going to be a lot of hot rod kids. It's not a place for an amusement park, any of that stuff. This is about adults playing in an adult game. And I know it sounds old-fashioned, and I know it sounds fuddy-duddy, but these courses are very, very nice, and so is Myrtle Beach. But the entertainment or what's going on is very much North Carolina. It's very proper. It's very, I say, historic, and they have a lot of nice. They have a lot of nice restaurants, a lot of nice things to do. You're just not going to see any tchotchkes, bumper cars, go-karts, any of that kind of stuff. You're going to see, going to museums, going to antique shops, going to things like that are more adult related than what would be kid related. So no going in forewarned on that one. All righty, let's go to the top and start talking. All righty. Here we go. Matt Revlock, hello. Shot of 76. My other round this week. Soccer just finished, so hopefully my rounds will add up as they get into the winter months. Yeah, as they get into the winter months in Cleveland. This guy Matt is just, I love him to death, but he's nutty as a fruitcake when he starts playing in 30-degree weather. But anyway, there you go. All right, what type of weather would everyone not play in? Well, anything that's below 50 would be for me. I can deal with rain. I prefer not to play in it, but I can play in it. But I don't like it when it's cold. Don't like any snow. I've played in 40-degree and did okay. Just depends on if the wind's blowing or not. There's mine. Charlie says, hello, one round is better than no round. 76 a great round, especially since you haven't played a lot. And I would agree completely. And this, Charlie, is 1792. Stumbled upon it, took it down there and shared it with the guys and just had a little bit left. Charlie got into rounds of 81 and 81. Consistency is your friend. It was tough with the great weather we had last week, but hey, a dad has to be first. You're correct, sir. There is no shame, and nobody should be giving you any grief on that one. Colder weather's moving in. Maybe the courses won't be so full then. That's right. So this was the last day. Well, yesterday was the last day of 50s to 70s, high 70s. Today I woke up to 50-degree weather and came home in 40-degree weather, and it's supposed to be into the 20s tonight, and it's going to be like 20s and 40s all week long. So that's got something going on. Well, you wonder if we had some photos? There you go. All right. What do we got from Peter? Shot a 41.35 for a 76. Okay. Very cool. Nicely done, sir. Charlie's telling us that. 6 strokes better on the back 9. That's fantastic. Matt, aren't you having a set of irons together by Jim? The answer to that is going to be yes. The only weather I'm playing is thunder and lightning. That's where I draw the line. Charlie, you're a tougher man than me. I will say that right now. All righty. Took me 9 holes to get used to the speed of the greens. I was -3 going into 18 and took a double. Ooh. There's Scotty, played with the new club, 75, did not hit it well. That might be due to 39. I started and finished at 69, currently 79. Well, 75 is okay in my book, but you threw out some pretty low rounds. Yes, reshafting first set, teaching the teacher should be fun. That's going to be a lot going on with that one. Ron Brogio, sorry. Says, question, played Myrtle Beach on Bermuda for the first time, had trouble with my wedges digging in, just overseeded, it was really wet, and played regular S grinds. Would more bounce be the ticket? Ooh. Well, so I've actually ran into that myself, Ron, but I don't know if that was the goober on the end of the stick or if it was truly the wedges. Now, down in Myrtle as a whole, they tend to play the fairways pretty close. They cut things pretty close. So getting down and getting under a wedge, you're going to have to attack it a little bit more at a steeper angle in order to get that dig. If you're used to, like up here, where, for instance, we'll say the fairway is like this, and down there the fairway is like that. There we go. And that's tougher to get through on a wedge. Now, it would be, if you're going to play in some tighter fairways and get through there, then a lower bounce club would work if you're not going to change anything. The S grind could be just fine. It just needs, instead of being like a 10, maybe more like an 8 or a 6. That would get. And the other, more bounce would just exacerbate the problem in assuming that you're bouncing and bouncing out. That would be it. Now, being wet's a problem all of itself because it tends to suck clubs in. Now, in that case, if you're playing it like that a lot, and they're very, very wet, where you're getting diggers, then yeah, a little more bounce will help you. Mark Nat, hi Jim and Robin. You're welcome, Ron. I'd agree, Charlie. I would agree. Michael Moody, snowing in Montreal. Oh my, sounds like your time's over. I hear that orange balls are pretty easy to find in the snow. Not bad. Or the red ones. All righty. Emmanuel, what do you say? Hello, Jim and Robin, the rest of the gearheads. Gut shoes up Saturday with stuck Sim 2 head. Had to watch the video while I worked on it. Wasn't a bad video. Bit got off. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that last one, I don't know if you guys watched that, how I had to get rid of that spooky to get rid of that adapter. That adapter was it was in there. That had the most verdigris I've ever seen in a TaylorMade. I've seen them stuck before, and we were able to drive them out. It was just on the cog area of it where the gears are at. Not a problem. It's stuck, but with a little force, it comes out. This would not move. I even you saw how many times I applied heat to it and tried to keep it loose, and I had to literally grab it with the vise and use the head as the thing to loosen it up. Finally, when I got to it, I was literally creaming the top of the golf club, the head, and I was literally hitting it like this, and it finally started moving. And as I thought I was getting it, it still would not give up. It did not give up until I physically pounded it off with the hammer. So it was a tough deal, but he walked away with 2 golf clubs, so much better for him. Pui. now down to my lowest handicap, 8.8. Well, you go, man. Latest round, 78. Not bad for a cricketer. Only started playing again after the first lockdown. Winter golf has arrived in the UK. Ooh-wee. I have found that the guys in the UK are a stout bunch, but Charlie and Matt must be from there or something. But I see a lot of the guys, they don't mind getting out there in that, uh, high 30-degree weather, low 40-degree weather, and get out and get some. That's massively cool. Manuel, what I couldn't explain is how to prevent this from happening again. I don't know either. Personally, I still think it's from the fertilizer and the dew that can weep up into that hole. Uh, if I had to guess, and how to keep it off, and I'm not sure how this would react, but I might spray it with some WD-40 on the way in, wipe it down real good so it's not dripping, and coat both sides of it with WD-40. Make sure it's been wiped off real good so there's no access, and then put it back in and try that. Outside of that, I have no idea. I still, the idea here is that you've given us some's got up in there and it's reacting with the ion plating or the dissimilar metals that are in there, and it's just creating that white stuff. Joshua Fish, good afternoon. Well, hello with you too, sir. All righty, not bad, but it was totally new. Wait a minute. 75, not bad, but it was totally on the new Makefield putter. Only 22 putts with 4 birdies. Wow. If you need, I highly recommend getting fit by Jim. There almost is no skid. Well, I'm glad you like it. And the funny part was Scotty was telling me, we saw the scores that he posted. He posted some phenomenal scores. And he first thing out of the box, well, I really like the putter. And I'm like, well, okay, well, then we won't mess with the putter. Well, we got him putting, and he said, yeah, I really kind of like this. I'm like, okay. And I said, well, there's an alternative if you're ever interested in it. And his wife bought it for him. I was like, okay, I didn't see that one, but I'm glad it's working out, man. There's John Cherry. Hello there, sir. Robin talking back as she likes to do. All righty. Manuel again. Nice rounds. Lost the championship week. My opponent shot a 70. He shot a 79. If he wasn't my opponent, it was a great round. Well, good for you. 79's no slack going on there either, partner. So well done to both of you. Somebody have to go lower than par in order for him to get to that part to beat you. Travis K, watching in New Jersey, dressed up my wedges with BB and F ferrules. Love the look. Well, good. Good. Those are, they're nice ferrules. They really are. There's they got a bit of a trick to working with them, but when it's all said and done, they're really nice. So, and colors, anywhere to customize them, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey Jim, just got a great bottle of Sortledge whiskey with maple syrup. Ooh, there you go. Sweet and tangy. That sounds interesting. All righty. Mark Nat, what's the best source for wholesale golf shafts, and at what volume should you shop a skip? At what volume should a shop skip wholesale and purchase grips and shaft directly from the manufacturers? Well, Mark, you'd probably be really, really surprised at how easy it is and the deals that you get on shafts based on and how to get started. All right. So this is purely from a business point of view. Some of the, there's Golf Shafts America is probably, if you're going to get things with names in them, those are where we end up going. We normally buy our stuff from Golf Works, except for some of the places we go direct. And Golf Works treats us very, very well. I mean, you're not going to get them at wholesale per se, but you're going to get them at a better deal, I would think, once you've been there for a bit. And pardon me, in every instance, when dealing with a manufacturer, whether it be OEM, say Graphite Design or Acra or KBS or True Temper or any of these guys, there is going to be a level of what they call buy-in. And what that is a signal from you to the company that you're serious about doing business with them. And honestly, if you're in a shop, it's really not that big of a purchase. Now, the thing is, the more that most of these companies will have incentives where the more you buy, the better your incentive is, like most places. And once you get to a certain level, you're pretty much going to get the best deal that they can afford you. And so that's the reason why you will see mom and pop shops they only carry 2 or 3 brands. Now it's twofold. Number one is so that they can get to know those products the best that they can and be able to recommend the best that they can. Now, and then the other one is that once they start getting it, they get it at a different price. Now, is this different price like, oh, you only pay a quarter and you can sell for $150? No, it's nowhere near that. But it is less, right? It is less. Now, are you going to get something for 50% off? No, you're not going to do that either. There isn't that. Golf doesn't have that kind of markup. Okay. But that's just where it is. And grips, as far as grips go, that's a tough one. Grips, golf probably doesn't sell directly to the people unless you're willing to buy several cases, and that could be problematic if you don't get the right grip. Lampkin used to do it. They don't do it anymore that I'm aware of. I don't know if Wynn does it anymore, and those are the big three. Star does it, and they're very, very helpful. Jumbo Max does it. They're very helpful. And I'm not sure of trying to think the other ones that's out there. I'm looking to see if I have any on my clubs. There are several others out there, like Number One, and there's another one that's made from a kind of a synthetic polymer. I wish I could remember the name of it. I've put a handful of them on. Anyway, so those are one of those things you just end up having to deal with. All right, Pewdie. Also, I've been tinkering around with my own version of then Jailbird putter. Purchased it Odyssey XG7, mid cut it down to 37 with a 2 thumbs grip, and I'm draining. So you like the 2 thumbs? I was always wondering about that. I talked to the guys and whatnot, but I think that's one of those couple more years and they may be a force to be reckoned with. But there's so much out there. There's just so much out there in the way of putter grips. Now the other part, you have Garson, which is different. You'll have the 2 thumbs. You'll have a couple of these, and where I'm going with this is, you now see these arm locks, particularly from Super Stroker, and they have that little knob on the end of it, and that thing is to lay against your forearm. Okay. I just recently was asked about, could I turn a putter into an arm lock putter by extending it? The answer is no. All right. In this particular instance, it was a tailor-made fang putter, for lack of a better term, and it had an S neck on it. Now, can I extend it and put an arm lock putter grip on it? Yeah, I can do that. But however, arm locks are made that it rides on your forward shoulder. And now I'm left-handed, so you're going to see it like that. It rides on the forward arm like this, and what happens is you got to put it into the center in order to pull it through. Now, in order to do that, the shaft lean on this thing has got to be pretty tremendous. All right, and what I mean by shaft lean is you got to bend this thing. So if it's got an S neck on it, and that S neck is giving you some level of loft, some level of lie angle. And so what you have to do is literally go from what would be 3 degrees, and you're going to have to get into something like 7 or more, leaning forward so that it sits here naturally in your arm and then soles itself on the ground. Sometimes even more, depending on how you put it or where you place it. And then the last part of this is because it's arm lock, you tend to stand taller. So you have those 39 to 42, which means you're going to be taller, which means you're going to go from that 70 to 72 to 74 to 78. So there's a lot of bending going in there on that neck. And then the neck is most likely going to be cast, and you just can't get that far. So I've been asked that. There's your answer. All righty. Hello from a snowy and cold Sweden. So, have you decided, Krister, on your new bag for the year yet? And are you going to get into the simulator leagues for the winter this year? This time, let's not have any broken shoulders or deep colds that'll keep you off of there, and see if we can't get that. There we go. So, how did you end up? That was the big question, right? I knew you had trouble at the championship, but I was wondering how you ended up with. How did you do overall? Have you any requests for more counterbalance putter? To an extent. What the big draw this year, Pooey, was stable putters. And what I mean by that is like the BGT putter shaft or the Stroke Lab or a very low torque putter shaft. In a lot of cases, they may have been a little bit heavier. Were they truly what you consider counterbalanced? Probably not. But in a lot of cases, our Stroke Lab was the number one putter in our shop for volume. And in the back of this thing, it always had a weight in it. Depending on the length and what you had, it would have a length. So by design or technically and by definition, yes, they were counterbalanced. And do they help? Yes, they do. But the thing that was really gravitating towards a lot of people is this stability stuff. For instance, my lab putter, and then that other putter I got sitting in there is a BGT in a Makefield that Scotty's using. Mine's the bigger one. He used the smaller mallet. I got the big uh, uh, the three deal thing, the original. Man, oh man, words are just not my friend today. So there's hopefully that answered it. All righty. Robin saying hello. Hello, Krister. Here we go. Terry Lockwood, how are you? Looks like Bones went on vacation. He looks happy. Yes, he did, didn't he? I got him sitting over there. This will be the last time you guys see Bones on there. He goes back into storage for the next year. So we almost bought another Bones Senior, I guess, and he was a bigger one. But we'll see. John Lamb, you guys making me jealous. Courses here in Alberta are closed for the winter now. Kudos to you and smack them straight and long. Well, I think the weather will not be conducive to that stuff down here, John. We're at 29 degrees. I'm not getting out. And the weather right now is all rainy. And so it might be a week or two, and we'll see what happens from there. I would like to get out a couple more times just to get my swing back, just to show myself I can do it. All righty. She's saying hello. Michael's saying hello, Robin and Jim. Derek Jones, emailed you about my putter. Wanted to take my normal putter and convert it into an arm lock style. Just talked about that, Derek. Hopefully you got it. Now, the thing here is if you just wanted to extend it and you want a 17-inch grip on it, we can do that. The unfortunate part about it is the whole thing with arm lock is you got to have that massive tilt. And that massive tilt it just won't be accomplished with that putter because the metal that makes the S neck is not that soft. And I need it to be softer in order to get there. So it's all up on what you want to do, man. All righty. Krister at Saturday had a 6-hour fitting with irons, woods, and putter. 6 hours. You are the man. Putter fitting was with Quintec. Yep, that's a nice little setup. Ended with a T150, 6 through the gap wedge, Project X 6.40s, 4 wood, 7 wood, and a Scotty Cameron fastback. Well, look at you just jumping out, getting right all Titleist and stuff. Good for you. Send an email, Michael. Mr. McGolf will take care of you, no problem. John Lamb threw in an old UST Pro Force High Launch V2 shaft into a Titleist TSI driver and 3-wood tipped him a ½ inch. So far, launch monitor and playing our last round spin is great. Have a slight fade. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that high launch. Matter of fact, the old Pro Force was that purple and gold shaft. That thing was a rod, and it only fits so many people. They made one called the ATR, which was they called it the Advanced Tip Response, and it was red and gold, and it was more expensive, and it fit a lot more people. But we were I was on the tour van when that happened, and they said, man, these guys would come in, and all it was red and gold. They didn't have any markings on it whatsoever. And they came in there, best round of golf ever played, great shaft, all this, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to keep it in there, no problem. Hey, what is it called? It's ATR. What's that mean? Advanced Tip Response. Well, what's that mean? That the tip's a little more flexible than the purple one. Can't have that. Can't have that. I need it to be way more stiff. And they would take them out, even after one of the best rounds they ever played. So it goes to show that even the pros can be pulled in certain directions based on what their buddies tell them. Jack King's from Lombard, and it's cold. Yes, it is. I'm holding out all hope here, Jack, in order to make sure maybe we get 1 or 2 rounds in. Charlie, sounds great. You ended up with a great bag of Titleist clubs. No doubt. He did, didn't he? There's Robin talking. There's my buddy Bob on there. Joel from the Raleigh area. Well, look at that. We went right by there, man. Pinehurst is a wonderful little place. Bob Poisel. Bob Poisel. There you go. Hello from Wisconsin. What proxy do you use, my friend, for more so for adapters and sleeves? Okay. I saw that you asked me that. And so in the beginning, I used the GolfWorks 24-hour epoxy. That was my go-to epoxy. I didn't use anything else. They had tour sets and all this other stuff, and they never really worked out for me. The 24-hour was the most reliable that they ever had. And what I made was a lamp box or heating box. To this day, do I still have it? No, I don't. I got rid of it. I had this thing for 20 years. It was a piece of oak that could hold 4 golf clubs at a time and had a light bulb sticking up in it. And it would get this box probably 80, 90 degrees, maybe depending on the wattage of the bulb. And I could sit it in there for about an hour and a half and it would quick set that stuff. Well, and never had a problem. And since that, and I did that for quite a long time. I would, if somebody was getting started and you didn't want to pay a lot of money for that, that was where I would put you there in a minute. Since that time frame, and we're sending golf clubs to different places, I needed something that was even more reliable. Not more reliable, but even more reliable. And that's the 3M. It's the stuff that they use on the tour. And it's the DP810 or the DP420. The 810 is very, very fast curing, and the 810 is, you can, within a couple of hours, you can work with it, and then the next day you can go out and hit it all day long. Now, if you're still back in the ways of GolfWorks, I ended up buying a gym locker, and I'm looking at it right over there. And what I did is I wired in two light bulb bases, and I put 100 watt light bulbs in there, and then I put insulation on the inside. In fact, reflective insulation. And I can put whole sets of golf clubs in there, and that works too if I ever needed to do that again. But the 3M stuff, cures fairly quick, and I can turn it around pretty fast. All righty. Krister, yes, 5-iron is a 200 PX. Love the 150s. The feel is buttery. 6.0s are incredibly stable. Nice. I like to see that. James C., hello from Austin, formerly Baltimore. Yeah, way to go, James. Thank you. And now in Austin. I bet that's a bit of change of pace for you. I lived in above there in Annapolis and Cape St. Clair for a while, so I get it. And that's when you understand when I say Baltimore. All right, James. What are graphite putter shafts, KBS, GPS, ELAG worth it? Oh wow. In every golf question, the answer is it depends. It depends on you, as in, number one, what you're looking for out of a golf shaft and what you're willing to pay for it. Now, we know the LAGP is a very expensive golf shaft to the tune of around $300 for a putter shaft. However, the BGTs, like I was talking about, which sits in this putter right here, is no different. The KBS, I don't know what the GPS but I'm going to assume it's pricey as well. And I will say that there is a difference. Okay. I used this one, and I've got sitting over here, there's an identical Makefield putter in length and lie and weight and grip and everything. The only thing different is the putter shaft. And it's the standard putter shaft. And even left-handed, I'll give them to righties, and I'll say, here, just putt. Just putt with it. Hit 6 or 7 balls. And he goes, okay. I take that one away, and I give him the BGT. Now I said, now hit this one. And it is readily apparent the difference on how you putt. All right. And how you putt. Bob on here, my buddy that I go golfing with, that sinks them from everywhere. When I put the BGT in his Makefield, making sure I don't say anything, on his Makefield, just absolutely, his putting it was already top tier. It went higher. And so, yeah, there is something to be said about low torque putter shafts. It's just whether or not you're willing to pay for one or the other. Okay, when you say greens are fast, what was the stint? My home course usually runs a 12. 12's pretty fast, Jack, but I think we had the one in Tanglewood, I would say, was easily past that. The ones at the two middle courses were probably running in that 12 range, and then the one at Southern Pines might have been closer to a 10 or 11, but with the braking, it was crazy. But yeah, that's what we would have done. And we got that. There's a Tim M on here somewhere. I haven't seen him yet. Cameron, well, thank you. It's been a while since I've joined one of these streams. How are things at McGolf Custom Clubs going? Well, Cameron, they're very good, actually. Our days of fittings are getting filled up, and I took off 4 days, and the shop is full, and Mrs. McGolf is like, go get her done. Go get her done. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. The last one, instead of golf balls and divot tools, I've kind of got into pin flags. So now I got this one. So now I've got pin flags, and if I show you, let's see if I can show you. There they are. There they are. So I got a handful of pin flags at places I've gone. I'm going to try and just make them in places that I've gone going forward. So that's not too bad. Well, you know what, Charlie? In a couple of them, I would think that you had to. Now, it was funny that in the first 2 rounds at Pinehurst, I made a conscious decision to avoid bunkers at all cost. So even if it looked like it was a decent shot to a green or into a fairway, I always aimed away from it in order to play the safe shot. Turns out it paid off. Now there was a couple that I missed, obviously, and in both cases, I channeled my inner Bob and went in there, and one of them was in those pot bunkers, and I took a 60, and I just took this nice easy swing, and I finished real high, and it popped up, and I ended up about 6 inches from the cup. Looked exactly like I knew what I was doing for the first time ever of getting out of sand trap. And the other one was a smaller one, which I scooped underneath, and after that, I couldn't hit a golf ball out of the sand to save my skin. If I would have had a if I'd have had a regular shovel, I couldn't have got out. All righty. There's Cameron or Robin saying welcome back. Hello, Drew. Bob, there's Bob talking. John Lamb, still playing Jumbo Max grips? Yes. I left mine on the driver in 4-wood. Can't get very small easy here in Canada. Well, let us know, bud, if I can help you out. Found them to be a bit too much in lack of feel in my irons. I'm a feely. Well, so those guys got the smalls on them in the ultralight. And I will say, and I don't know if it's the grips, I just can't tell you. Uh, I've had in the last several rounds real problems finding the middle of the golf club, and I am towing everything. The thing is, I'm swinging just at such a clip that they're going the distances that I want them to go. Now, if I find this thing in the middle of the club face, I'm literally going to gain a club. So I don't know if it's because of me with these big grips and I'm pulling out and then I'm pulling across my body, or what I'm doing. And it's almost worthy of an experiment, to be sure. Here we go. Peter, let's go with the BGT shaft. Send me an invoice. All righty. We'll do that. Southern Pines can eat your lunch if you don't bring your A game. Well, Peter, I didn't even bring my C game. I couldn't, for some reason, I could not get my arms to go above my waist. I was just so frustrated. I was just so going, what is going on? And so I literally, I gave up. I did. I gave up, and I just punched it around the golf course, and until I got done and called it even. But the funny part was, it's not funny, but the lion's share of the people that were in our group, they got ate up just as bad as we did, except for Bob. Bob killed it. He shot like an 83 or 84, just hitting all kinds of golf shots around the green. He did not lose his, so well done to him. All righty. Dean, I don't want to mess up your back. Cacorosis? Cacaros. There you go. Love your work. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. I will need some help with a Nike VR TW. I'm refurbishing it. I'm soft stepping 2 times and have a little wiggle in the head that meets the shaft. Any tips? Thanks. Well, Dean, chances are that in the TR, I just happen to have an iron with me. In the TR, right here at the very end of the hosel, there's probably a shoulder. And in that shoulder is what's going to hold the top end of that shaft solid in place. Okay. If you're putting it in there and it's wiggling around, that's what it is. In today's golf clubs, typically PXG, maybe a Ping, and every once in a while a Callaway. I've seen it in. I call them centering ferrules. And what they do is you got to have that ferrule with the shoulder on it to marry up to that shelf that's in the hosel, so it sits there and then it holds that thing in place. And that ferrule is just soft enough that or soft and hard enough that it doesn't swing it around, but it holds it and allows it to vibrate. And that's probably what that's all about, man. All righty. All righty, outstanding. There, very good. All righty. Pewee again. Can you recommend similar driver shaft to the shaft in TaylorMade Mini Driver? It says Pro Force 65, but I can't get a hold of an uncut one. A Pro Force 65 and an old tail. Is it an old one? The minis came out not too long ago. Hmm. Pro Force 65. Well, the Pro Force 65 is kind of a misnomer. Oh, I know. The if you can find them and it won't cost you a truckload, is the Pro. Just we saw another gentleman out here, the Pro Force V2s. Try one of those. They come in the right weight and the right flex. I'd try one of those. The Pro Force V2s. It's that gold and black shaft. All right. P.S. I'm soft stepping for length using DG taper tips. Thanks, mate. Yeah. No, the where they go into, Dean, is going to be the same soft stepping or not. The soft stepping just means that you're putting a 5 into a 7, 6 into an 8, and so on. So your lengths are going to be a bit longer when you go in there, and they're going to be a little bit more flexible as far as flex goes. But as far as fit and finish goes, it shouldn't be a problem. There's Tim. Tim Mustard. What do you say, man? I can see that you're awake now. Well done, sir. My dog Rex, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that, sir. And if you guys, so I haven't done this all video long. If you would like, subscribe, hit that bell across the bottom. That way you get more of the videos when they drop and they come on out. And if you got some friends that want to see this, invite them along and let's see let's have a bigger party. All righty. Ron G, if you add a half inch to a fitting a client's irons, does the 0.5 carry into the wedge? Typically, yes. All right. Typically, yes. If you're going through the irons and it's, they all have a progression and there's no reason why it wouldn't, right? Yeah, I would put them in the wedges. And you're going to go, well, I'm hitting the wedges really good now. And yeah, because it's the shortest club in the bag, it's the easiest club to bag to hit, right? The question is, will you hit it better? Chances are, yeah, because it's putting you in the right posture, right? It's putting you in the right posture in order to hit from those weird lie angles that you might face on the golf course. All righty. There's Ron. Joe Milner, what do you say? Hello there, buddy. Appreciate you coming in. Robin saying hi. Many courses in Maine will close 11/1. Well, I can see that in Maine. That's one of the places we've got to get to in the U.S. I've been in the high 40s of states, at least traveling through, not flying over, actually driving through. And the upper Northeast is one of the places I did not get to. I got upwards of Connecticut and Delaware in that particular area, but I never got much more north of that. All right. Jim, have you ever turned static weight versus swing weight? If so, what is it? And I thought I would read it on. I thought I read it on the Wishon site. So yeah, so static weight is no different than a thing called total weight. All right, and swing weight. So swing weight is obviously we all know swing weight. You put it into a machine, and it's like being on a teeter totter with a measuring device on it. So it goes like this, and you move your slide. So if it's sitting like this, you move your slide until it moves back, and it goes like that. And wherever that slide's at, that's your swing weight. Okay. Swing weight is a number that's found off of, I believe it's a 13-inch fulcrum, and that's how they give it numbers of C's, D's, B's, A's, F's, E's, and G's, that kind of stuff. Highest is the F, and that's just what it is. Static weight or total weight, and that's this. We'll call it the dead weight. It's you just weigh that you just flop your whole club and you just put it on a scale, and whatever that total weight would be. For instance, let's just say a 5-iron weighs out at 385 grams. Bam, that's 385 grams. Now, the next club probably going down may weigh 392 grams. Bam. And then so on and so forth. That would be the static weight. Now, it would be my opinion that the total weight is far more important than the swing weight ever will be. All right. It's all about, swing weight is heft and how you feel it when you lift the club. And there's something for feel, to be sure. However, it's feel, right? It's feel. Total weight, as long as it's in line, the total weight is far more important because it's not about the one and only shot. It's about all the shots. All right. Cameron's back. Golfed in Florida at Bent Creek Golf Course in June. Hard golfing in Florida since the fairways are tight and it's fast but it's fun. Yeah, so golfing in Florida is definitely not like golfing in Ohio, to be sure. For one, we have mountains; they do not. We have clay; they do not. And some places sand is a foreign concept. Where down there, it is just a fact of life. The idea of pitch and run down there is a famous technique. Up here, it's loft and run. And so a lot of different ways of getting around. To the point, before we're talking about wedges and trying to get through it, if you're 3 or 4 yards even off of the green, taking a 7 or 8 and just taking a nice easy chip shot so it gets on the green and runs is a far better, more higher percentage shot than trying to take a wedge and flopping it on there. David DeFeo, hello there, sir. Glad to see you on Facebook. All right. Could I have a 7-wood and a 4 hybrid in the bag? The 7-wood goes 224 and the carry and the 400 is, yeah, why not? That sounds like 211, yeah. Depending on how, it depends on how it plays, Krister, but I'd say that works fine. It's kind of weird because the 4 hybrid would seem to want to, unless it's the lofts are really off, because you have a 7-wood that's probably 21, and the 4 hybrids are in that 21 degree area too. Chances are, Krister, it's all about the quality of your hit, right? The quality of your hit is the reason why they're going that way. But if it's a reliable difference in like that, don't sweat it. Okay. There's Charlie carrying a 7-wood. Charles, yes, I hit the 7-wood, 21 really good, consistent yard of carriage with no hot balls, went 5 to 10 yards further. That's what we're looking for. We are there, aren't we? We're almost there. Charlie, my lowest iron will be a 5 iron, a 224, so I need at least one club after the 5. Well, I'm going to assume that your 5 iron went about 200. That's the reason why the 4 hybrid works pretty good. I even put a 9-wood in the bag. Ooh, there you go. I stopped the 5. The 5 iron was doing nothing more than holding my towel. I got rid of it, and as it turns out, the 6, between the 6 and my next hybrid up, which was a 23 degree, and then I got 21 and a 19, tend to work really, really well. Well, they got some of those types of sets out there, Charlie. John Lamb, dissimilar metals can have electrolytic effects. See, look at that. John's getting into it. On each of the other metals, a lesser material will be oxidized. Happens a lot in pipe fitting. You have to be especially careful with stainless. There you go. I learned about dissimilar metals in the way that they, when they made instrumentation. Charlie be with me on this one, and how it opened up and how it didn't open up, based on how it was heated or cooled. Oh, Tyler's don't have a 9-wood. Well, that's no good. Full set of hybrid irons. There you go. There we go. Mark Nat, I spoke with GolfWorks. They told me they'd offer me a 10% discount on purchases after I spent $3K. I already get well beyond that discount. dollar with one of the other wholesalers. Well, then I would go with them. I won't use anything. I won't use anything other than a putter grip now. Okay. Derek McCord's back. What do you say, buddy? Glad to see you here. The paint fill work, Jim. We'll send photos of the wedge I did on Instagram. Very cool. I'd like to see it. Test the Paradigm driver. Didn't like the feel of it. Ping has a 9 wood. There you go. Now, I will say that was the set that I took down there, and the driver was working very well up until the last day. I was putting some big ones out there, even with all I was playing in the B-Man League, I think, B or C, I don't know, based on these guys, and I was putting it up there with my A-men, so that was a lot of fun. Iowa Matt, now you got my attention. Are you still having supply issues? I've been waiting 7 weeks for my shaft for my TaylorMade Mini driver. Switching from stiff to regular, found 35 yards in the test of the fitting shaft. Personally, Matt, no. The only thing I'm having delays on is this Apex iron of getting some fitting irons into my into my shop. Outside of that, no. Everything else is right on time. Jim Anderson, there he is. How is it in Scotland? Not much golf. Most local courses affected with really heavy rain causing very wet conditions. Closing lots of local courses. Enjoying the video regarding the driver adapter removal. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Krister's in it with 2 bad rounds at a 97 gross. Ooh wee. I feel your pain on that one, Krister, because man, oh man, it was awful. I just could not figure out how to golf the ball. It was bad. All righty. I have the thinnest fat cat grip on my putter to match the flat side of the putter head. Probably the biggest help in my putting. There's another way of going to it. Okay. Matt saying hello to Robin. We're saying hello to DeFeo. Derek's asking a question. You know what, John Lamb? I was thinking about doing the same thing with my driver. Have about 8 to 9 degree launch driver. That might not be too bad. So, Derek, sir, here you go, man. I know you're listening now. I seen the emails flying. So, here's the deal. Can I extend your putter? Yes. Can I put the arm lock putter grip on it? Answer to that is yes as well. However, if you're truly going to use it as an arm lock putter, that means that your arm is going to be very much forward here, and that putter is going to be way out here, meaning that you're going to have to basically, it looks like I'm taking loft, but I'm going to have to add a whole bunch of loft in order for it to set correctly in the putter shaft. So meaning that if this was straight up and down on your putter shaft, because even if you had the S neck that came out, it's going to be like this. You're literally going to have to be like this in order for that arm lock putter, so that putter soles, because your arm is going to be out here. Okay, when that thing locks like this, it's sitting in here below the elbow, by the way, and it's sitting in here. You're going to have to be like this in order for when it sits out. You don't set it in the front of your stance. Otherwise, you'd have to be putting with negative loft like Jumbo Ozaki. You have to be here. It has to be a lot. Okay. The other part of that is that now that you've made it taller, you're going to want to make it more upright. And the changes that putter is going to have to go through is probably more than that neck will allow. All right. Because it's probably cast, and they're only good for a couple of degrees. And we're talking about bending you between 5 and 7 in one direction and maybe 3 and 4 in another. All right. Bob, I permanently use the quick set. Tour epoxy for my driver shafts that I put together myself. Lasted for 2 years so far. There you go. Mr. Hernandez, how are you, Savs? How much do you charge for shaft replacements? That one Robin has. I don't even remember anymore. She's probably, if you send her an email or go to mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com and send it to us, and we'll take care of you, no problem. All right, best bang for your buck grips. Uh, Best bang for your buck grips. Grips have gotten expensive, haven't they? For me, it would probably be Star. I don't have any allegiances to anybody, but our most popular grip in the shop is Golf Pride because, well, they're a real nice grip. However, best bang for the buck is probably Star. It's made out of an EDPM rubber. It lasts forever, and you keep wiping them off, and it gets stickier, and you can actually get colors. So yeah, I would look at Star. Mike Rorbel, Jim, demoed CX5s. Nice clubs, man. With the dart, even better. Felt great, but 6 iron spinning 3500. Thoughts on KBS PGI 70R currently playing Adams next to with Ozic 85S. Well, the Mike, it would depend on how you're hitting. It would depend on how you're hitting the 6 iron. 3500, yes, is very, very low. You know, the old days of 6,000 for a 6 iron, 5,000 for a 5 iron, so on. Those days are gone. Now, every once in a while, you'll see somebody that does it, but they have a very steep attack angle. Now, what you're probably seeing is maybe 1,500 off of that. That's just kind of a guess, right? But it's okay because for a lower loft, the reason why the spin is less is because it's funny. Hold on. It's funny because the loft has gotten stronger, right? So the loft of a 6 iron today obviously is much stronger than several years ago. And so it's like this, but it's still called the six. Okay, well, the thing is, does it fly high like the six? Well, chances are it flies higher, right? Because they put all this weight on the bottom so that the ball takes off like this. So now you've got a higher flying ball that comes in like this at a lower spin rate versus one like this at a higher spin rate. So there's the trade, right? There's the trade. Now, do you want? But 3,500 is kind of low. I will grant you that. I would look to see first the acceleration profiles on the dart versus the other ones. Now, I'm a big PGI fan. I would go with the if you're used to a stiff flex, I would go with the R plus for sure. And that would do it. And I'm a fan of it. I really like that shaft. It tends to kick right into it just fine. If they have that as an option, I would certainly check into that. Jim Simon from Australia. Well, there we go. We're now getting around the world. Can you tell me about the new Dynamic Gold 115 mid shafts, please? Well, the damn Dynamic Gold should give it away, right? Everything's modeled after Dynamic Gold, and it's certain steps all the way down. I believe they're like an inch and a half steps, and they were 120, 125s. And depending on where you want to be. The mid is a 115, which is slightly lighter. And when they mean by mid, is they might say mid kick point, but it's more about mid flight. So it is a slightly lighter shaft with a slightly higher flight. This much. All right, this much. So that's where we want to go. Okay. Simon, Explore Philippines. Hey Jim, Mike from Maine checking in. Can you help? Can you help with course selection if you make it to Maine? Oh, I can help. Okay, very cool. I would like to make it to Maine, and I'd like to get over up into that neck of the woods up there in Canada. That would be a lot of fun. Here's a new one: Norwegian Warhound. That is a daggone name. Now, well done, sir. I was wondering, might a modern equivalent to the React driver shaft that came in the old TaylorMade Super Quad? First time commenting from Iowa. For Norwegian Warhound, maybe is there Norwegian Elkhounds? I actually got my first dog in Iowa. We lived in Iowa. We lived in Cedar Rapids, and we got a Norwegian elk hound, one of the nicest dogs I ever had. And unfortunately, he just grew old when he passed, but they're great dogs. Anyway, the Reacts. I can't tell you how many of those I've replaced in the past because they were so brutally stiff. Um, and they were actually, if I believe right, they were old Fuji shafts. So if you wanted a more modern version of the React right this very moment, right off the top of my noggin, Warhound, I would say probably I would look at a Ventus Blue. Would probably get you where you want to be, and with the Velo core, and I would look at something like that. If you didn't want to go with something that exotic, probably an Acra FX green in the same weight and flex. That won't be as much, and probably that'd be the two I'd recommend. Next story, we have the oldest resort in the nation, Poland Spring. Well, we'll have to look at that. And the Shattuck in Jaffe, New Hampshire is a must play. Look at that. Now we're getting northern. All right. Moorhound, what part of Ireland? I'm in Marion. Not too far, dude. Not too far at all. I know where that's at. Oskaloosa. Yeah, there you go. My dad lived out there in Davenport for the longest while, and there was another one out by Mapleton, right out there by Mapleton. That's on the other side of the state. All righty. Welcome, buddy. Derek, hopefully I got you taken care of, man. Danny, welcome. How are you, buddy? Ordered it from Club Champion. Okay. Iowa, Matt, whole club or just a shaft? Oh, now we're talking to each other. Tom Weishapel? Fond du Lac. Glad you had a good trip to St. Point. Well, thank you, buddy. That was I got to tell you, man, it was very, very nice. The place where my niece got married, very nice, very woodsy, very down to earth. The guys were just super duper nice. The people that we went through and we saw, of course, their job is to be nice, but these folks were just super nice. Everybody up there it was a whole different kind of laid back. And my wife watches these comedians that are on Facebook that talk about being in Wisconsin, go Pack, F the Bears, and and uh, and being Midwestern and stuff. And it was just like that. It was funny. It was very, very well done. And we went right by Fond du Lac. Hopefully, I'm saying it right. All righty. That old ATR shaft was money. It was. I got to tell you, dude, that was a nice shaft. Wish they would bring it back. The V2 high launch was closest I could find other than the Alda NVS maybe. And you're right. You're not far off of it, John. The V2 high launch is about as close as you're going to come to it. You could have probably gotten to the V2 normal and made it a little softer, and it would have been pretty close. But that ATR was the deal. All righty. I am not sure what this means. Thank you so very much, whatever this IDR is. I'll have to look that one up, but I appreciate it, man. Any installation is a good one, buddy. Appreciate it. Joel C.A. Jim installed some 370s and some STI2s from GolfWorks. I noticed that they appeared to be collared ferrule needed. Will they hold together with regular ferrules already installed with some BB&Fs? Yeah, the STIs. I did one of those. Um, I don't think that they take a collared ferrule. What you might see is that they have a lot of coning or a chamfer on there where it looks like it's at a 45 degrees. Can you put a collar in there? And sometimes, yes, you can, but that's not what it's for. But no, I think you're fine. Alrighty. Zach Wheeler, are ping driver adapters good? Someone told me that they are really shallow and can be prone to breaking. Not that I've seen, Zach. Matter of fact, they install. If you're talking about the new ones that have little bumps around the edges of the top, and they have like a big plus, a little plus, and a big O and a little O, that kind of thing. Those things are stout. All right. Now they do have a tendency to get stuck because those little bumps will wedge themselves into the receiver area, but I've not seen one break yet. All righty. You're more than welcome, Mike. Somebody can break a handicap 128. Okay. Iowa just got just the shaft. All right. Thanks. That's what I was thinking. Very good, buddy. Down to the end. Not sure I keep the paperwork in my shop so the wife doesn't see how much I spend on golf. You and a whole bunch of other folks, Matt. You and a whole bunch of other folks. Okay, so we got down to the bottom. We've been here an hour and a half. Not too bad. We got some money. I'm not sure what IDR ends up being, but hey, we appreciate it nevertheless. All around the world, guys and gals, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for asking me the questions. And as always, I do not have a video ready because I was on vacation and it was very, very nice. But we will get something out this week to be sure. And as always, guys, have a happy Halloween if you haven't already. Be very, very safe. Make sure you watch out for the kids when you're driving around. And as always, let's see your scores go low.